About the Arnold Classic that happened a few days ago, Arnold Classic 2020. It was unfortunate because obviously a lot of you know that the Arnold was actually canceled. The main, like the expo, and I think some of the events might have been canceled. I'm not sure on that, but I know that the expo was canceled. The only people that were allowed there were friends and family. I think family and uh, a few other people. I saw Mark Bell and Stan Everding were there too. So I guess if you had the connections, you were in there too. But anyway, wanted to go over um, the Strongman 2020. Strongman Arnold Classic, because I really I wish that Bryan Shaw had made an appearance in this one because I know that Bryan had um, went for the trials in Santa Monica and he didn't pass, so he wasn't in the event. But I think it was really unfortunate because with the types of events that they had this year, I think Bryan would have been a true top three competitor, and I think it was if oh man, it would have been important for him to have been in the top three because lately he hasn't been coming in the top three, both in the Arnold and the WSM, and it's really unfortunate. And I think a lot of that is because with the way that the strawman sport it's changing. A lot of it is there's a lot of walk and lifts, lift and walk, and that involves a whole new um, type of um, element to the game because you not only have to be strong, but you also have to have some endurance and some ability to not lose your breath. Um, and I think that's why Bryan has failed a lot lately because he's not used to that as much. Bryan is a big man. He's over 400 pounds. So he is really going to be better with the lifts that you stand in one position for and not where you have to move around a lot. And I think that's where he's having the issues. And he actually came out, I think it was last year, where he mentioned that himself. And he was trying to lose weight and try to be a little bit better about being able to move better. And I think that this event would have been great for Bryan because the first event that we had um, was Trial with Stones, I believe. I'm gonna have to pull up the thing here in a minute, but Trial with Stones was the first event. Going into the first event, um, Bryan, I mean not Bryan. What I'm saying is, going into the first event, it was an event where the first thing you had to do was pick up pretty much an outlet stone and lift it up and over your head. And that's something that I know last year in the Arnold, they had the natural stone lift, which you had to lift up and clear it over your head, I believe. And Bryan had not done good with that event because it was a weird shaped stone. He never messed with a stone like that before. He didn't do very well. But this time, it was like a regular Alice stone, and Bryan specializes in those types of events. So I think with a different kind of a stone, I think Bryan could have been a lot more successful, and this would have been an event that he would have probably succeeded in. Then after that little element, you move on to two regular Atlas stone lifts where you just lift the ball up, put it on the barrel, two different weights, and then the last element of the event is where you lift up a natural stone and you have to walk it 50 feet. That's something that he would have probably had the most trouble with, but I think he would have still done it, and I think he would have done a pretty good job in that event. Definitely the top three. Obviously, we know that the Polish guy, Koleskovska, I don't really know how to pronounce his name, but he, obviously, we've seen him demolish any kind of shoulder lifting, and he did really good in this event, and so did Thor, as we all were expecting Thor to dominate almost everything. Um, Now, going into the second event, which I believe it was a sandbag throw, um, Bryan has been known for doing really good with those. Last year, and I think a couple of years before that, Bryan and Thor went head to head with that event, and they both did really good. So that would have been a close event, and I think that Bryan would have stayed within the top three. Um, then the third event, which I believe it was the elephant dead bar lift. Um, Give me 1 minute. Um, so obviously with the elephant dead bar lift, we know that Bryan has cleared over 1,000 pounds. In competition, he's hit 1,026. Um, Thor has a world record for the lift, only about 20, 30 pounds more. So those two men would have gone head to head again beyond any lifter. I don't think anybody of the event this year has actually cleared 1,000 pounds except for Thor. So that would have been a close event. Going into event number 4, Bryan still being in the top 3, possibly top 2. We have I might have got the rotation messed up, but I think it was a Wheel of Pain. Last year, the Wheel of Pain, Bryan did struggle on that a little bit. That event might have hurt him a little bit. But I think he would have done good enough to stay in the top 3. Now going into the 5th event, we had the uh, frame carry, where they had to carry the frame up the ramp. That event, I think Bryan would have done great. Now in that event, the Polish guy and Prickett from Arizona demolished that event. Prickett got 10 seconds. The Polish guy, I think he got 6 seconds. And that was incredible. Thor actually struggled on that event. So Bryan would have pushed through the rankings, and I think Bryan would have been in the top 3. Probably better than Pickett, so probably number 2. I think the Polish guy would have probably pulled it out on top of Bryan, because I think the Polish guy was just faster. Bryan's 400 pounds, the Polish guy's like 2 something. So I think the Polish guy would have probably beat him in that event, but Bryan would have still come in second place, putting him overall 2 or third place. So anyway, going into the last event, this is once again Bryan and Thor going at it. It would have been, it was a cry bar. I think you pronounce it that. Anyway, it's where you have to lift a dumbbell over your head. And once again, and now the Polish guy did a great job. He hit 300 pounds, and it's pretty impressive. But like I said, we know that the Polish guy is known for being good with shoulder lifts. But I think it would have been the 3 of them going head to head. And I think Bryan would have been either 1, 2, or 3, probably 2 or 3. But honestly, it would have put him on the podium. It would have made him look good. Finally coming in the top 3 again. Where lately he's been coming in the bottom below 5. So this would have put him kind of back on the map, and it was really unfortunate to see him fail in Santa Monica. I think Santa Monica, the trial for the final event, I think that unfortunately is probably there's probably events in there that are maybe a little different than what they actually have in the final show, and I think that puts Bryan in a disadvantage to qualify. Unfortunately, he did disqualify, so we didn't see him. He's currently training for the WSM. I think that's in closer to the end of the year, closer to the middle of the year, somewhere around there. Um, and Bryan is training for that. Obviously, we know that he just built his new gym. He has a new gym that he built in his backyard, and he's been training hard. And he's Bryan's number one thing is the WSM. I think he currently has 4 championships, and he's obviously trying to go for 5. But Bryan is getting older, and I would like to see him get on the podium at least, 2 or 3 more times before he officially retires. Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit. This video was primarily talking about Bryan Shaw because he's my favorite strongman athlete. But yeah, I hope he does good in the WSM, and hopefully that doesn't get canceled. But hey, just wanted to go over that, and hopefully everybody enjoyed the Arnold Classic this year, even though we were not able to go to it because of the coronavirus. It was good events. Now, powerlifting, I don't know if they had the powerlifting event or not. I'd have to check. That would be the next thing I'm going to look into. But anyway, I will see you next time.